Today's video is powered by Hauppauge. Skip it up and that up. So this is kind of an interesting take on the insane amount of memory that's going to be in the PS4. Some developers are thinking that having too much memory, having the 8 gigabytes, is going to make development teams lazy. They're not going to optimize their code properly. Games are going to become sloppy and big hogs, and no one's going to do their job right, and games are going to become crap because of it. I have a couple quotes here from some people. One's on one side of the fence where they think it's a big deal and games are going to be sloppy, and one's on the other side. The first one is, it could happen, I have to admit. Eidos Montreal producer Stéphane Roy told us when asked about such a risk, but the temptation to cut corners with code will likely come from kid developers, Roy suggests. Junior coders who enter the industry during the next console generation rather than veteran developers. It's probably not going to be from people who used to work here on the PlayStation 2 and stuff like that, he says. But let's say you're a kid and, you just take the bong out of your mouth. I added that in. You just put down and got your diploma from college and you're out and you're jumping around. You still have your gown and cap on and you start to, program for these platforms. I have to admit that's going to be really tough to convince them to be technically clean when they work and optimization and stuff like that. So I can see it happening. It's possible that they're going to be sloppy with their code, especially if they're younger. On the flip side of the man nipple, we have Just Add Water CEO Stuart Gilray. The thing is, this happens every generation, he says, about the risk of failing to optimize. It's the sort of thing that within a year will be knocked on its head, which I agree with. We had the same problem going from the PS1 to PS2, from 2 megabytes to 32 megabytes, then from 32 megabytes to 256 megabytes in the PS3, and then on Vita you had 512 megabytes. It just happens. It keeps, every generation you get more memory. It's the way it goes. And that's how I feel. I remember with the PS2, I think I talked about this in another video, where, they were talking about, Toy Story graphics, and Saddam Hussein's going to use the PS2 as a supercomputer to nuke everybody, and Buzz Lightyear is going to have butt sex with Saddam Hussein and 32 megabytes of RAM. It's just crazy. We'll never need another console. It's the supercomputer. And then 32 megabytes of memory, a year and a half later wasn't enough, and developers are like, we have to optimize our code to make... We never thought this game was possible on the PS2 due to its limitations, even though a year and a half ago you said it was the most powerful thing ever. So it happens every generation. Every generation they make sloppy ports because, they have a PC game that'll now work on the newest gen console. They could just plop it on there, change some code around, and, the frame rate fluctuates because they didn't optimize it properly. And then they'll get used to the, platform, and then 8 gigabytes of memory will be like having 256 megabytes in the PS3 now, and they'll be complaining that it is not enough memory. So to me, this whole complaint and this whole concern is kind of null and void. It happens every generation. Get over it. 8 gigabytes for now is a lot, but a year or two from now, it's going to be like, it's barely adequate. Mark my words. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out.